Good morning, I'm Jane Wenner. I'm the Gloucester County Emergency Management Coordinator. I also coordinate the Community Emergency Response Team that some of you might be familiar with. Have you ever heard of it? The CERT team during the Daffodil Festival is when you see us the most. Sometimes we've done other events. They're wearing the green vests. We started the Community Emergency Response Team in 2007. It started in the late 90s in California is where it really started to take off when they're having a lot of wildfires, and a lot of what they call spontaneous volunteers would show up and they wanted to help, and they had absolutely no organization, no plan, no training, no accountability, and they just dove in and did everything that they could possibly try to do. So Los Angeles got together and they created this phenomenal program which just spread out through the United States. Every state has several CERT teams. In Virginia, almost every county, I think there's 5 that don't have a CERT team. The ages vary. We have people that are in their 80s and we have young people that are in around 14. We teach ROTC CERT 2 or 3 times a year, and we've taught teachers. We do workplace CERT. So the program is usually 2 full days, but if it's a workplace CERT or a youth group or something like that, we can make it as short as 4 hours. And that's just the basics. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the background and how we started in Gloucester, but first, well, maybe we will start with that. So the very first day we had a meeting at Beaver Dam Park at Whitcomb Lodge and said, if anybody's interested in volunteering for the community during emergencies, come on out. We gave a little bit of an idea of what it was going to be, and the room was packed. And that kicked it off. We have people that have stayed with us since 2007. We have people that have moved out of the area and joined certain other states. Thousand Trails, we have members there that travel, and they bring their kits because you get a little backpack with all kinds of fun things in it. You get a CERT vest, so they get to use their equipment and go identify themselves as CERT for wherever they are in case of an emergency. So people ask us what we do during emergencies, and it's a little bit of everything. So we don't only do emergencies. We do 2 major events, Daffodil Festival and the Guinea Jubilee. We park cars, direct traffic, make sure everybody's safe, and coordinate whatever the organization that we're working with needs us to do. We try not to park cars on a regular basis for events, because what happens is every organization that needs somebody to park cars for something calls us and says, can you park cars? And sometimes we're just not needed. So our volunteers, because they're all volunteers, will end up spending a full day parking a half a dozen cars. So we really have, in the last 2 years, had to scale back on what we say yes or no to. And sometimes people understand that, and sometimes they don't. During emergencies, so a week ago, and then again the other day, we thought we were going to have a significant snowstorm, right? So everybody geared up for this big blizzard. We were getting calls from John Phillips, from John Gordon, all of the stakeholders in our community that serve the public on a regular basis. What's going to happen with the weather? What are we going to do? Then we started getting calls from people who are oxygen dependent, electricity dependent, dialysis dependent. And so we've compiled a list with help from Department of Health on the vulnerable populations and where they are and how we can better serve them during storms. Are they prepared? So we're going to be doing a large mailing in the next 2 weeks, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And our CERT members will reach out to these individuals with their permission and just check on them. Hey, are you prepared? What's going to happen if you can't get out? Do you have a caregiver? What if your caregiver can't get there? And just make sure that our vulnerable are prepared. And that's a really big concern of ours. And I'll talk about COVID in a second and how that came to light. So our CERT members, some of them want to come into every single event we have. If we have trainings once a month. They want to come to every time our doors are open, they're there. Other ones only want to help during emergencies. We have some that have signed up, but because of either health reasons or life changes, they just want to work from home. So they'll make phone calls for us. They'll do Excel sheets. They'll just touch base. If we have 2 events a year where we honor our volunteers, they might just send, like one woman always sends a salad everybody likes. She doesn't participate anymore, but just something she likes to do. So we have a wide range of capabilities for anybody that's interested in helping. And some people may not be a CERT member, but we might call on, like the Ruritan Club, and say, this is a need. What can you do? Because we want to connect with our partners on a regular basis. So my best example that people are kind of tired of hearing is we were trying to really figure out where are our best resources. And for me and what we do, it's the faith-based organizations and the organizations that deal with a wide range of people. So not just, we work with the Scouts all the time, we work with youth groups as much as we can. So quarterly, we have a breakfast with our pastors in our community. The pastor may come, they may send a representative, we invite everybody and they come out, and once they come out, we say, what are your needs? And then we tell them what we need. We might say, listen, we're gonna send you weather information. Please get that out to your congregation. So they're our partners. They're also our partners because often they have vans, they have showers, they're handicap accessible. They also know their community very well, even if it's a smaller circle, and they know each other. So they're really good for us to help. We all remember the 2011 tornado. We used Bellamy as our staging area. We thought we were going to be there for a day or two, 3.5 weeks later, we left. But they provided all the food for our volunteers and our victims. Our biggest mistake there, and that's a whole other topic, was having everything in one location. We had the victims, the volunteers, the donations, everything in one location, so it gave the perception of pure chaos, which on some hours it was, but it really just wasn't one of the best decisions. But we had never experienced a tornado before. We didn't know what to do. So now we have volunteer and donation areas, several churches we have agreements with that they will come out, we will go to them, and that will be for volunteers, that will be for donations, that will be for victims. So we support our first responders. If there's a house fire or a large fire, they will call and ask us to communicate with the Red Cross, which is something we do right away, and we send somebody out to help. Or it may be our first responders have been out there for 4 hours, it's freezing, we'll grab a bunch of Gatorade, water, sandwiches, and run it to them. So sometimes I'll call the CERT member who's closer than I am or than another, and I'll just say, hey, can you go and get this? We'll reimburse you, or I'll pay for it over the phone. Can you pick this up and get it to our first responders? Because our first responders are volunteers, so they're given their time to protect our community. So we work with our sheriff's office. He's very supportive. They help us with training a lot. But back to one of the main things that we're working on right now. We do trainings. We work with Middlesex, Matthews, Gloucester. It used to be just Gloucester. Now we have the 3 counties. We work with Lancaster, but mostly the 3 together. And we have CERT trainings, 2-day trainings, every 4 or 5 months. Our next one will be in April. We usually have it in Gloucester. Occasionally we have it in Matthews. And we put it in the newspaper. We put a banner out at the Circle. We use Savannah's office to really push the information out. So during COVID, and this is, I'm telling you this because this gives you a real good idea of how your organizations and others have helped us in the past and can continue to help. So during COVID, we found, working with Meals on Wheels, that a lot of our homebound shut-ins, electricity dependent, the caregivers weren't showing up because they were fearful of COVID, or they just couldn't get there for other reasons. We found out how many people were not receiving meals or didn't know that they could get to the Meals on Wheels programs. And we started getting phone calls from individuals that were really struggling. And most of them were of a certain age, over 70, and just did not have the capabilities to take care of themselves during COVID, fear, and also a lot of other health issues. So we brainstormed, and somebody called and said, I have 400 frozen turkeys and 200 frozen hams. Do you want them? And I'm like, sure. And the woman that was working with me said, what? No. I said, yeah, bring them. So they pulled up with frozen turkeys. I lined the sidewalk because it was warm out. The sheriff did call and say, you know, that doesn't cook them. We know. So we lined everything up. We used, a neighbor of mine had a freezer out back because he hunts. It was empty. We loaded it up with ham, 40 pounds of chicken. Said, now what do we do with it? And we realized all the restaurants in our community were closed. So we started calling the restaurant owners and saying, can you please cook for us? Can you cook these turkeys and hams? And can we use your kitchen? Can you do all this? And they were like, absolutely. So the first brainstorm, which flopped, was, well, we'll set up a drive-through like other churches do, and they can come and pick up a meal. Well, we ran out very quickly because that wasn't addressing the need of the homebound. People were pulling up and taking 10 for their friends and family. So that didn't go well. So we sat back down and said, now what do we do? So we have all of this food, and we know there's a need. We got all the churches on the phone. We had 27 churches involved. We said, what can you do? And give us a list, not the names, just the number. You have 20 homebound, you have 5 homebound, you have 25. Come here. We put everything in a bag. So we gave them all a pound of chicken, pound of ham, canned goods. Everybody brought a canned good to us. People brought everything you can imagine, lots of books, lots and lots of books. And then we had all the pastors do a devotional. Just a couple of sentences to encourage people. And then we put all kinds of preparedness and COVID information and resource guides in those. And then the churches teamed up and went out and delivered it. So they got to see their people. They got to spread the word that they wanted spread with encouragement. We got to give out preparedness information, and we started reaching as many as we could. And we did it 3 different times till we ran out of the food and COVID was put on the back burner. And we realized how much of a need there is in our community, especially during emergency situations, whether it's a pandemic or a weather event. So our big thing is who our partners are, who we can connect with, what needs you have, how we can meet those needs. We have volunteers that on days where we don't have bad weather coming, they're preparing, they're training, they're driving around and looking at vulnerable areas that might flood, that might have mobile homes there that are going to be impacted by storms more significantly than some other homes. We work with Dominion to make sure that we're up on the weather. They have a fantastic weather forecaster who helps us a lot. And we take everything that we can, all of our tools in our toolbox, and put it out during what they call the blue sky days. So when it is not, that we're ready. And we love doing that. Our volunteers are phenomenal. We do a lot of medical ops training, which is very, very basic first aid. Like if you have an incident and you break your leg in your office or somebody else does, what can you use that's in your office right there to help you? So this way we're not asking you to be medical professionals. We do fire extinguisher training. We teach you how to use a fire extinguisher. We do psychological first aid, which how do you talk to people that are in a stressful situation? Or if you're in a stressful situation, how do you recognize it and back out? Or find some way to breathe through that? It depends on what works for you. We do fire safety, not just how to use a fire extinguisher, but how to prepare better and what not to do. We bring the fire department in to train with us. We bring people that are more knowledgeable in certain areas to train. And like I said, it's 2 full days. We always feed you, but it's 2 full days. And people walk out of there with some basic knowledge, whether they want to volunteer or not, is okay with us. We just want as many people in our community prepared as they possibly can. Have you all heard of Be Alert, our mass notification system? So right now we're doing a real push with community engagement to get the word out to people. We have a few hundred listed on our one system, our mass notification system, but Department of Health, so during, let's say, declared emergencies by the state, we can immediately ask for, when we do a local declaration, identifying information. of the vulnerable populations, the dependent in our community. We are not allowed to share that information. We have to have a specific plan for it, and in 30 days we have to sign a waiver that we have to destroy that information. You can't crumple it up and put it in the trash or anything else. You have to destroy it, but we have 30 days to utilize that information for planning purposes. So what we're doing is just doing a mailing saying, are you signed up for Be Alert? Call us and we'll help you sign up. This way, now we have reached a whole other population and help them be aware of weather events that are coming. The sheriff uses our system for roads closed and things like that. We use it for water line breaks, main breaks. We've had several issues of that in the last month or so. So we do a little bit of everything, but our biggest thing is training up our community and making sure they're prepared. The more prepared our community is, that releases our first responders to take care of other needs as well. So there you have it. So we are going to, like I said, we're going to have a class in April. We don't have the dates yet. It will be in Gloucester. Sometimes we have 5 people in a class. Sometimes we have 25. It really just depends. Everybody does not stay active. That's just the way any volunteer organization is. And we're just grateful that they come and get trained. And then we have people that, like I said, the doors are open and they're there 15 minutes early. Why can't I get in? You know, I was a Boy Scout in 1975. I know everything. And we have a lot of veterans. We have active military as well, but we have a lot of veterans that just want to give back to our community. We have a lot of people with a lot of really interesting background that we use as trainers and teaching. So if you call and say, look, I have this background, would love to teach your groups, we can do that. So we'd say, come on in. And we do exercises. We work with the Daffodil Festival as much as possible leading up so that our people are trained and they know what to do. So there you have it. Do you have any questions? Can you come up with one? Good.
If someone wants to get involved with you or if they want to sign up for the April training, what is the best way to reach out?
I'll leave my business card, but you go to gloucesterva.gov and just hit emergency management. We post all our trainings on there. We also update it on a regular basis of when our initial 2-day training is going to be. We have people that tell me that they can only come one of the days, so we do a makeup class. So if you're like, I can't give up a Saturday and a Sunday, which is typically when we have it. We've done church groups 6 Thursday nights for 2 hours. Like I said, we've done workplace CERT, which is if you work somewhere and you just want your individual, you know, your small group trained, we just come and do that. And we don't, everything is free. So it's all grant funded. It used to be grant funded. Right now the grants are not there, but the county funds us. We have a line item and we're very careful with that because the way we look at it, it's not our money, right? It's your money, it's my money, I live here too. But what we do is we're very, very careful with, okay, everybody gets a kit. They have to complete both sessions or one session if it's a smaller group. In that kit is a vest, a t-shirt, a very attractive helmet, a glow stick in case your kids like those, miniature first aid kit, things like that. So we just want you to be as prepared as possible. That's our goal. We do damage assessment. We help at the pet shelter. We help at the people's shelter. We have 4 trailers. One is about 30 foot. It has everything in it from microwaves to IVs to cots to wheelchairs that we bring to our shelter in case it's needed. And then we have smaller ones that have just cots in it or generators, shovels, tarps, that kind of thing. So you'll see us out a lot during emergencies. You'll see our people out a lot. So if you have any questions, I'll leave my card. Oh, good. Please.
It's not a question, Jane. Thank you very much. When we had the tornado back in August of 2020, we couldn't believe it. I mean, our yard thing was just covered with trees. And here come the CERT people climbing over the trees to get to us. And it was just so helpful. And you all came every day until we were.
Well, your community, as you know, because I've said, is amazing. There were, what, 11 houses that were impacted? That were
11,
Yeah.
11 houses.
So private road.
Yes.
So very challenging to get resources for a private road. Mr. Crisco was on the board, is still on the board. He finally, we were like, please, he pulled the trigger to get funding to get people in there to remove the trees. Never seen trees that big, ever. And this neighborhood helped one another like I've never seen before. And we've gone through we've gone through fires, tornadoes, storms. They cared about those immediately that could not take care of themselves. I've never seen anything like it. It warmed us. Congressman Whitman came down after a couple of weeks. But yeah, private roads make a difference. Waste management was like, no, but we'll park something at the end of the road. And VDOT was like, we don't really do private roads. But that story right there was, and thank you for recognizing our CERT members, but you guys were amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's neighbors helping neighbors. That's what this community is all about. And we walked away from there. I just remember sitting there crying one day because I was like, what else? I'm not usually emotional, but watching you all help one another, it's like, what else can we do here? It was really, really special. I'm sorry for the destruction, but it was just a real great lesson of how people help each other.
Well, thank you for your organization.
So, all right, so if you need something, go ahead.
If we've signed up for interest in doing the initial CERT training, are we allowed to attend like the trainings like on February 19th?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so any trainings that we have, you're more than welcome to come. You don't have to be a CERT member to come. You know, we want to eventually rope you in, but we're more than happy to have you there to get trained up. So, okay.
Any other questions for Jane?
All right, well, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you.